What's good, y'all, and welcome to my review for the 6th episode of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stone Ocean. First off, I actually meant to get this review out yesterday, or at the very least recorded yesterday. I'm recording this on Sunday. But first off, I decided to play some Guardians of the Galaxy, which I love, which I streamed it for you guys. That's already up on the channel. And I ended up dumping 3 hours into the game because I was enjoying it that much. And then after that, there was day one, and then Toonami to end the night, so I couldn't get to recording it yesterday. But I did manage to at least watch most of the episode. Had to cut it off midway through because Toonami was like literally gonna start in like 5 minutes. So yeah, sorry. So yeah, but anyway, guys. I know I said this with the last episode. I was gonna say last week's episode. I guess I did technically review it last week, but but with the last episode. But bro, this is another one of my all-time favorite episodes of JoJo. Literally, this episode of JoJo encapsulates everything that I love about JoJo. With how ridiculous it is, the ridiculousness of JoJo is what gives JoJo its charm. And this episode perfectly encapsulates that into one solitary episode with this guy whose stand power is all about him, is basically everything he does is like wants to basically kill himself, and he's like getting to this other person that if he kills himself they feel it too. Like, it's so batshit insane that this would not make sense in like that. This would be perfect for like an out of context JoJo compilation for part 6. Just air this entire episode. But yeah, man, without further ado, let's just jump right in. So we start this episode off. We start off with the kid again. Now this time, Jolene was basically not in the episode at all. This was solely Costello's episode. This was solely her episode. We got a little narration kid basically just reintroducing us in prison, and we find that she has got an additional 5 years for trying to escape, which obviously she's not going to sit out that sentence. Because it'd be very right, because I don't think we're going to spend this entire part inside of a fucking prison. Anyway. So yeah, and then we just see basically all we get of Jolene in this episode is just her her with like her arm on top of her knee, just staring with her eyes covered completely in shadows, man, just staring. I'm surprised a menacing Kaji wasn't there right next to her, man. But anyway. So we get back to Costello, and we find that she is actually inside the hospital. Now we find out later on the episode, well, first off, we see this janitor, he starts moving his hand around Costello's body, slowly dragging his fingers down her thighs, her legs, and goes right near her, like, panties area, and grabs, I think it was like $20 out of her whatever that came from, and runs off. Of course, Costello wakes up, be like, "Hey, give that back, bastard!" and he runs off. And this is when we find out more about Costello and how she's even in the first place. So first off, we also learned that she is in for burglary. And while she was waiting to get transferred, that's when she found the pendant. And when she picked up the pendant, of course, cut her, and of course, this is how she got her stand powers. And when she wakes up, she sees that there's a sticker thing with like I don't know about y'all, but it looks like the retweet logo on her hand on the sticker. So it's just a coincidence because Twitter wasn't a thing when Araki was making part 6. But I just kind of noticed it looked very similar to the retweet logo on Twitter. Which, speaking of Twitter, I am shocked that when part 6 got it, when this batch of episodes first dropped on Netflix, I am shocked you didn't have dumbasses on Twitter trying to cancel Araki or Netflix or David Productions for this episode. Like, oh, how dare you fucking glorify suicide or whatever the fuck they would have bitched about. I am shocked nothing like that happened. Now maybe it did and I just didn't see it, but I just didn't see it on like the trending page or anything. So kind of surprised but I'm sure there were probably some few if you looked really hard enough for it, man. I'm sure there were a few. Anyway. Back to the episode. So she takes the peel sticker off, and she knows that the cut is basically completely healed now. And then later on, she sees the sticker is back on again. She removes it, it comes back again. This is when she's starting to know that something's off. Then she looks around her where she sees there's 3 of her shoes. She has 6 fingers, but when she rips it off, 2 of the fingers combine into one. You see blood blood starts splattering. She's like, but they're back to normal. Same thing happens with the shoe later on the episode. And now Costello is kind of wondering what the hell's going on with her. And she then just starts naming off random shit to make sure her memory isn't fucking with her. She said something about Christopher Columbus sailing the seas. Bunny, and then actually named Bugs Bunny's birthday, which was like I think she said like July 20th, 1940, I believe the date says. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But I thought that was pretty funny. And then, and then after all of that, she starts like wondering. She has like this figment in her eye, which I have no idea what the hell she's talking about. Anyway, so after all this madness unfolds, and Costa and Hermes starts to like comprehend what's going on before she fully understands. Of course, it's gonna be a stand ability and all that shit. First off, also another thing that we saw that also got like the clone thing, the outside sticker on it, was like this glass like tube thing. It like holds liquids in it. I don't know what the fuck it is. For all I know, it's piss. For all I know, it's Hermes piss. I don't know what it is. The liquid looked kind of grayish, murky. If you guys are for certain, please leave in the comments because I don't know. I'm assuming it's urine because it certainly doesn't look like water. But who knows? Anyway, that smashes together as well. So then while the janitor's kind of like doing his thing, Hermes grabs another broom that she had under her bed, removes a sticker on it, and has the thing fly over to the other, or not broom, mop. He's using a mop, and it basically, in the two mops, sandwich the guy's face, and it looks like it knocked him out. So she then starts to drag him over to her bed and be like, "Hey, you bastard, give me back my money!" And then when she finally pulls him back, she knows that there's 2 CDs coming out of him. And whatever happened, she ends up just grabbing one of them, and the dude goes off like nothing happened. So then she's kind of wondering what the hell this CD even is. So then she gets out of the infirmary. She's cleared to go back to general population by the doctor. She tries to ask the doctor about what's about this new night janitor. The guard basically tells her to fuck off. Then she asks one of the other women, which was one of the women she woke up when she started losing her damn mind, trying to figure out what the hell's going on with this sticker thing. She says, "How the hell would I know?" She asks another prisoner. She doesn't know. So then she's in the bathroom. She knows that this is a CD, but she's never seen a CD that's as pliable or whatever she said. That it's a very squishy and it kind of moves around. Very different from a normal, typical CD. And then she sees like something in like the CD, sees like basically what looks like a memory in the CD, where we find out this janitor has actually stashed away, I think he said like $5,000 away, and he's been stealing it from prisoners and kind of like keeping it all inside this little thing in the stairs. It looked like, so which is very pretty clever on him, and he managed to like really squish that money down to make sure it fit in there. So shout out to him, he's smart. So shout out to his cleverness. So then we finally meet this guy. He confronts Aramis inside of the bathroom. Surprised he even got in there, but whatever. I'm surprised this man just casually goes into the women's bathroom. But I guess to be fair, he's a janitor, so I guess he has an excuse to be in there, Anyway, she gets in there. She's like, "Oh," and the dude at first, how he comes off like, "Oh, you were the villain of this episode," which he was, but he's like the guy that you think Aramis is going to have to straight up have a face-to-face, hand-to-hand, confrontation with, an actual, fight. She's going to have to combat this opponent. Well, and that's how he comes up at first. He's like, "Oh, I've never had a woman stalker before." And then, so she starts to interrogate him, ask him if 2 CDs came out of him. And she's like, "Disc?" And then we found out this dude is a massive fucking pussy. This man just starts crying. Just like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I don't remember. I have so much money, but I can't remember where it is." But I also gotta say, massive shout out to whoever voices this guy in the dub. He did a fantastic job, so shout outs to him. I did find hilarious when we got to the commercial break. We got we found out what his name was, and his name is like McQueen something, which I just found hilarious because every time I think of McQueen, I don't know if his name was originally meant to be like another music reference and that the dub had to change because licenses and shit. But whenever I hear McQueen, I just think of Lightning McQueen from Cars. I'm sure it's gonna piss some people off, but that's just me, man. That's what you get when you're watching a 2000s kid over here watching JoJo. Anyway. So the dude starts crying, and then she kind of keeps going on about him and asks her if he's okay. "Wait, did you just say I was okay?" Oh, he starts crying again, being like it's the first time he's ever talked with a woman. He starts moving his hands around, blushing, hoping that he can meet someone as beautiful as her. This part. And then what happens after that, bruh? Man was dying here, man. Bro, this this is why I love JoJo, man. Hopefully I'm not going to be laughing as hard when I did with the part 3. You guys remember when I was reviewing part 3? You guys remember that part with Dio? With, when he was going up against that rich guy that was hoping to become president one day, and he just ripped his front teeth off and told him to drive the car. You guys remember watching my JoJo reviews for that long. Y'all know I was dying for that part in my review. I was just laughing hysterically for like a minute solid or whatever. Anyway, so after all this mess, she's like, but why would you want to be with somebody as pathetic as me? And he starts taking his belt off. I'm pathetic. I feel like dying. And he takes his belt, wraps around this pole, and hangs himself. The whole casualness of this whole thing where my man's just like, I feel like dying. And then he's like, I'm like, bro. First time I must say, with how suicidal this guy is, I wonder if he has a Tumblr page. But, bro, that shit was hilarious, man. I was like, what? I was just like, what just happened? I was in the middle of my laughing at this whole thing going on. But then we find out what this dude's stand ability is, and where she starts feeling like she's being strangled while she has like this thing wrapped around her neck with like propellers at the end of it, as she's like getting raised up to obviously simulate that she also is getting hanged. So then we figure out more about how McQueen is even mixed up with all this stuff with Pale Snake and everything. And we get another member from the CD where Pale Snake met up with him. We find out that this dude is basically an asshole. He doesn't think he's harming others. He thinks he's always the victim. He wants someone to save him, yada, yada. And I love that Pale Snake says, in some circles, they consider you the worst. But so that's how we figure out how Pale Snake, and he tells him obviously to, go after her. So we now know how McQueen is connected with Pale Snake and everything. But then after all, then we need to get back to what's going on while Hermes is getting hanged. She then fires off another sticker at the belt, but makes a copy of the belt, rips it off from the copy of the belt. The two belts smack together, and then of course finally tears the belt, and they finally can breathe again. So, then, obviously, she starts chewing him out, being like, what the hell is wrong with you? Why'd you do that? Why'd you kill yourself? And he's like, thank you. Oh, my God. Thank you. I owe you my life. I will repay you. And this was comedic gold. So, I'm very curious to know how this turned out in the manga. This is probably one of those page-turn moments in the manga when this was getting published in Shonen Jump. But this was hilarious. So then Hermes goes into does the same thing that Jolene did in the previous episode. She's like, oh, no worries, you don't gotta worry about it. She's like blushing and everything. I don't know why this happens with both these women after they obviously are pissed off at these two men, where they just compliment them once and they're like, oh, okay, they turn into little schoolgirls or whatever. But whatever the case may be. She's like, oh, don't worry. Then when she looks back at him, we see the dude's trying to kill himself again, but this time he's just drowning himself by overfilling the sink with water and just diving his head into it. This was the funniest shit ever. Then his wristband moves up a bit, and we find out that we find scars on his wrist, so he is indeed a cutter, which definitely confirms that he does indeed have a Tumblr page. Which I do wonder if that means he logs his cutting experience on his Tumblr page with hashtags like edgelord or depression or other shit that people on Tumblr hashtag their shit with. I don't know. I don't use that accursed website. Anyway. So then we see that his stand once again forms this water barrier around her mouth to obviously simulate that she is indeed drowned. And she also turns upside down because he is also upside down as well in the sink. So what she does is use the sticker again and creates a copy of her nose so she can breathe through her nose. And then she grabs the mop and just hits him with it, which sends him out of the tub. And she's like, why did you kill yourself again? And this man's like, I know, I said I'd repair you, man, but a piece of trash like me can't do anything. And then the dude's just begging her, be like, just kill me. Well, this man is just bawling his eyes out, man. It's the funniest shit ever. This is if we're talking in terms of just purely comedic JoJo episodes, top 5 easy is this episode, man. This episode is absolutely amazing. This was absolutely hilarious, man. But anyway, after that, she tells him, "Don't come near me again, or else I'll kill you myself." So then she leaves, and that's when I'll say Lightning McQueen. McQueen notices and sees that she took the disc with her, and she says, for some reason, that feels like it's mine. So she's like running out of there. She shows the card to her discharge permanent, and she's running down these stairs. And that's actually when she meets up with the boy. Now, after this, then the boy basically explains to her that she has a stand, and how stand users are connect to each other like magnets, yada yada. Jolene is the reason I'm here, etc., etc., etc. So then, after he explains, what's going on, explains to her what's going on. That Jolene is the reason that Jolene told him to keep an eye on her. He says that their job that they're trying to stop pale snakes and recover the hearts that they have stole. And obviously when he says hearts, he means the CDs. And that's when we figure out what these CDs are. There are two CDs. One of them is the stand power, which we kind of suspected from last episode, and the other one is memories. They come in pairs, and two of them and these two CDs make a soul. You get them back, obviously that must mean that their soul is going to return. So obviously when they get JoJo's CDs back, JoJo's going to be back up and running and alive again. So that's what we go on from there. And then her arm just starts has cuts all over and just starts bleeding profusely. Then her arm has electricity all around it. And obviously finally the dude is trying to electrocute himself and also bleed to death at the same time, I guess. Now, we find out that obviously doesn't work because of currents or whatever, but if he uses salt water, then he will be able to off himself, finally. So then, obviously, she rushes right back to go and find this fucker. So when she finally finds him, he's wrapped around with all these wires around him, and he has the switch in his hand. Then he dumps salt water on top of him, and is about to just end it all and press this button. So she, of course, tries to stop and be like, "Oh, you'll get through this, man. It'll help. You'll get over it. It'll all get better." Try and help, but that doesn't work. So you know what this woman does to try and stop him? She offers her panties. She offers to give this man her panties. Can you tell I love JoJo? I was like, bruh. And she slightly pulls down her pants, like, "Oh, so embarrassing, but I'll give up to you." Which, first off, I gotta say this. I don't know if I mentioned this before in previous videos, but I gotta ask, what is Japan's obsession with panties? Why? I have been watching anime since 2016, and still to this day, and reading manga for around the same time. And I still, to this day, do not understand the appeal of panties. Why does Japan love panties? There's fucking panty vending machines in Japan for some ungodly reason. I am not even joking. Google it. You'll find them. Why? Seriously. Is it just a fetish? Is it just kind of a fetish thing? Some people are just into that shit. What is Japan's obsession with panties? What is the appeal of panties? I never understood that, man. I have never once understood that in all my times of watching anime. But anyway, and then we actually get some interesting information about McQueen. I almost said Lightning McQueen again. About his backstory. We find out that actually this dude was just cleaning a shotgun one day, and somehow a shell managed to get lodged in the barrel, into the barrel of the gun, and actually it fired off at this woman because he was in an apartment complex. He was on the 10th floor. She was on the 11th floor. She jumped off of her floor of the 11th floor to obviously kill herself. And while she was falling onto his balcony on the 10th floor, his shotgun fired off, and it hit her, and it directly hit her, obviously killing her because it's a fucking shotgun shell. It's gonna fuck you up. Which I thought that was interesting, which would probably explain maybe why he's in the prison. If I would assume he was probably a prisoner here, and he's just working as a janitor for whatever reason. Which I thought it was kind of interesting. And we found that because that was just that was straight bad luck. Because she also and the reason he talks about this whole thing is because she said that everyone knows that not every day's a Monday. The weekend's always right around the corner. Everyone wants a good Saturday or whatever the fuck she was talking about the weekend. And the dude says, I got arrested on a Saturday. I was like, damn, bro. And so that's when we find out. Like I said, that's when we get his backstory, and then we found out how the judge called him cold-hearted. And that's when he threw the book at him, which I assume that means he got a life sentence. For what was obviously an accident. This was very much an accidental death. Instead of it being a third degree, I don't know, murder or manslaughter, whatever the crime would be. It should have been ruled a suicide because that's what she is. She was trying to kill herself, but then a shotgun shell just got in the way of that and kind of fucked with everything. I mean, either way, the woman died, so she got her wish, but goddamn, bro. Goddamn. But anyway, that doesn't work. So this is when he starts to smarten up that the only reason that she's talking to him is because she's just trying to save her skin, which she says, yeah, that's true, but, you know. And so then she just straight up tells him, stop thinking about suicide, then Pale State won't have any power over you, and that's what you need to do, that's what you need to do, you shit stain. And then the dude starts crying again, but this time he's just gone off the deep end. This man has gone full local. And this man is just like, but like I said, shout out to whoever voiced him the dub. His performance in the episode is great, but especially here, man, his performance was awesome. He's like, when this dude goes full nuts. And he's like, oh man, I never thought I would date someone like you. I won't be so alone anymore. And he's like smiling, little tears down his eyes, and like the camera and the color shift, and the frame comes up on like the screen sideways. It looked really fucking cool, man. As he's just laughing maniacally, he's about to hit the button. Then he finally does, but she manages to put one of the stickers on top of him, which obviously stops him from, which was enough to like clone him. But then after the sticker burns off from the electricity, bam, they come together, and I think he dies. Like, we see the dude's kind of burnt to a crisp, and I'm not sure if he actually died from that or if he's just knocked out. The episode didn't really specify if whether or not he was dead or not. But either way, the other CD just straight up pops out of him. Like, it literally just pops out. And just grab on force, she picks up, and she says, and that's when she remembers about the $5,000 he hides, and that she's going to be grabbing that as payment, you asshole. And then that's when we finally get to see Ermi's full-on stand in all of its glory. Like the design of her stand, looks pretty cool. I dig the design. And that basically, and Chelsea says she wants to meet up with Jolene, and that is where the episode ends, ladies and gentlemen. Overall, another phenomenal episode of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stone Ocean, man. Without a doubt, one of my all-time favorite JoJo episodes, if you ask me. I would say this is probably my second favorite episode of Stone Ocean so far, man. I loved this episode, man. This episode was basically everything I love about JoJo, all condensed into one episode with just the absurdity that is JoJo. But anyway, guys, that's where this video off. Overall, I'm going to give this episode a 10 out of fucking 10, ladies and gentlemen. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like if you did, subscribe for new. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter, flag and links down in the description box below. And as always, come back for more. See you guys next time. You